Hello everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at Stellaris' newest DLC, Overlord, which is set to release on May 12th and is actually pretty interesting. First, we'll be talking about the two most interesting megastructures in my opinion, starting with the Quantum Catapult. The Quantum Catapult gives your fleet a way to travel across the entire galaxy at the cost of being a one-way trip. This could be really useful early on for when you're establishing contact and wanting to get rid of competition as soon as possible, while allowing you to claim territory on the other side of the galaxy. However, you could also be stranding your fleet on the other side of the galaxy if you're not careful, leaving you wide open to attack.
Station reports enemy contact.
Next up is Orbital Rings. So, previously to Overlord, you would have to build up a max citadel and hope it would be enough to hold off a fleet until yours got there. And while that more or less hasn't changed, it has become a lot easier to protect a system through the addition of Orbital Rings. These rings seem to add, more or less, a second space station to your system around your planet, which on its own is no big deal. However, a planet will not be able to be invaded until the orbital ring is taken down, preventing your systems from being overrun too quick. This feature will help prevent species such as driven assimilators or determined exterminators from taking over a planet and quickly killing your pops before you get there. Now with those two megastructures out of the way, let's see the origins. Out of the 5 new origins that are being added out of this DLC, I will only be talking about the 3 I find the most interesting, those being the Teachers of the Shroud, Subterranean Civilization, and Slingshot to the Stars. Starting with the Teachers of the Shroud. The Shroud in base game is already pretty useful, providing technologies such as the Psionic Shield and the Jump Drive, with the downside of them you usually get them a bit later. However, with this origin you will start with latent psionic abilities, which should allow you to find them much sooner, as well as the possibility of getting psionic avatars much sooner. With this origin, we also start in contact to a civilization known as the Shroud Walkers, who seem to be able to read our fate, teach us science, or possibly more info about the Shroud. The starbase for the Shroud Walker also seems unique to the fact that instead of having a normal habitat common for species such as the Curator Order or Artisan Troop, they instead have a giant rock with a city built on top of it. Funny enough, the species actually looks a lot like the Imperial Royal Guard from Star Wars, who were Palpatine's Royal Guards. Next up is a subterranean civilization. With the new information released about this origin, we now know that you will be provided with an uncapped amount of mining districts, and since this is an origin, you should be able to combine it with civics such as catalytic processing and angular to provide huge amounts of alloy and strategic resources, boosting the player's economy to an untold level. Combining this origin with the orbital rings would also be incredibly useful during war times, as this species is practically impossible to orbitally bombard already, this coming from the fact that they reside in deep caves. With that being said, the slingshot to the stars. As I mentioned before, the quantum catapult will allow the player to go across the galaxy at extreme pace. This technology is counted as a megastructure, allowing the player to get mega engineering much quicker than other empires, getting things such as Dyson spheres. This will allow a species to take multiple sides of the galaxy at once if they wish, or fight a war with people who can't get to you. This will probably be a very useful origin to mess around with when playing a fanatic militarist and trying to conquer all. However, I would be warned, if a determined exterminator gets their hands on it, it could be pretty bad for you. With all that said, I can't wait for Overlord to come out, and I plan on buying it the day it comes out. With that being said, I can't wait for everyone's strategies to take over the galaxy.